adjourn at the mayor's convenience.
Thank you, Kevin. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for coming out to be with us tonight. We will begin our meeting here with a word of prayer. Councilman Richardson, would you please lead us?
You bow your heads, please. Lord, we just thank you for this beautiful day and the ability for us to come together as a group with city issues that we will conveniently and with good authority be able to resolve. Lord, allow us to each have our opinions, and may the decisions we made tonight be in favor of the city of Monticello. Thank you again, Lord, and bless us all. Thank you.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we are down to item 4 on the agenda. Public comment, please.
First on the list is Miss Evelyn Hagan.
Tequila. Won't do that.
I think they're on the agenda. So if you're speaking to your item, I don't think
Oh, you don't have to get up.
You can speak on that.
Okay.
Just to let everyone know, for the Hagen Funeral Home item, today is the first reading of that particular item. There will be and cannot be a vote held today. Because of that, I don't know if the council wants to direct that comment should be held until the next meeting or hold them today, but it does not have to be a vote.
Okay. All righty. So are you suggesting that we just hold this off? Because if we go to the, this would be the first reading, you got the second, and the
Well, the
last.
second should be the time where it's
Okay.
voted upon. The requirements of the Sunshine Law are that prior to the vote being held, there is a public opportunity
Right.
to speak. That does not have to be at any particular meeting, but if there's a way to avoid duplication or anything of that nature, that of course can be limited.
All right.
I do want to, since we're discussing this, go ahead and speak to the record that I will be not participating for conflict of interest. So, in any
I've
discussion.
confirmed that.
Okay.
He don't have an entity in that.
What?
He don't have an entity in the funeral home. She's the owner, he just a worker. Read statute 112, they'll tell you about whether you can have a conflict, whether you can get yourself excused or not. He had a vote or not vote whenever we do it. Go back and
I'll
read.
discuss that with Mr. Evans
Well,
prior to the
Yeah,
vote.
well, you go back and read statute.
Well, for the record, the form is being turned in.
Thank you, sir.
You can keep them phone, but you gotta vote whenever it come up.
Okay, well, we will not be voting tonight. We will hold, we're going to hear, it's on the agenda here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're skipping around. I think we're still on public comment down there.
Okay, all right.
I don't want to pronounce this wrong. Mather?
Matthew Parker.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm here on behalf of Ms. Hagan, representing the funeral home. So I don't have a public comment. I'm just here for that agenda item. And I would, Madam Mayor, if I may, I would like to have a discussion on it this evening, if that pleases the council. So at least we can discuss it, and any issues we have, we can work to resolve. Since this is our first reading, let's go ahead and discuss it. I know there's going to be public input, so if we need to make changes or anything we can do to work this through, so that next meeting we can have a vote.
Okay. All right, well, from where we're standing now, and this is just coming to our desk, so we'll have to carry it over to the next meeting. Okay, item 5, proclamation.
Is there any,
Madam Mayor, I don't know if that was all of the public comments?
That's all.
Oh, that was everyone who signed up? Sorry for the interruption.
A proclamation. Whereas the Kiwanis Club of Monticello was founded on May 3rd, 1925 by a group of notable men, 10 years after Kiwanis International was established, making this club one of the oldest and most prestigious in the state of Florida. In addition to a rich history of leadership and service, the membership of the Kiwanis Club of Monticello will proclaim that the club is arguably the leading civic club in Jefferson County. And the legacy of service is a timeless testament to the enduring impact of individuals who have dedicated their time, resources, and compassion to serving the greater good. The legacy of the Kiwanis Club of Monticello spans generations, leaving a lasting tapestry of positive change that has endured for over a century. Whereas, in honor of 100 years of service, the City of Monticello wishes to recognize the Kiwanis Club of Monticello for its positive contributions to our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Monticello hereby recognizes the Kiwanis Club of Monticello for 100 years of service, duly adopted and proclaimed the 6th day of May, 2025, by the Honorable Gloria A. Cox, Mayor.
Are you gonna stick around?
No, we have a group of Kiwanians, if they will come up. And,
Okay, we'd like to get a picture.
and Roy, you're the president, so get the proclamation.
Okay. Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
do we have to do this, make an approval on
Chief,
this
can you get that to
proclamation?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think you do officially, but the actual effect of this is kind of.
Oh, right, well,
That was a good one.
for the good of the order.
Stay there and we'll get a picture
Oh,
somewhere.
I need a motion to accept this proclamation in a second.
I'll move.
I'll second. As a Rotarian, I will reluctantly second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Come up here and let Kurt get your picture. You can hold it up.
I think the Rotary Club is the
You got
second
the
best
camera
club in
here?
town.
Well,
Okay, so ready?
The Masons will talk to you about that.
Give it to him or?
Yes, sir,
Oh, there you
yes, sir. Okay, all righty.
No, they don't want the backside.
If you don't,
Alright, come this way.
It's all right. I got you over
She's
here
good
too.
there.
Either way.
Okay.
You're good.
uh-huh. Okay,
1, 2, 3, Monticello.
Yeah, got it.
Y'all look over here a second.
Oh, one more.
Yeah, go ahead and look over there.
Where did you? Oh, thank you.
okay, Ms. Hagan, we didn't get a picture with you last time, would you come up?
Thank y'all.
all right.
All right.
Thank you, Tammy.
Good job, good job.
George organized for you.
We didn't get a picture with you last time?
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Let me get one.
One more. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. Okay, we are so honored that we are able here to recognize the Kiwanis and all the ones that we have presented proclamations or something for. It is a great honor and in the history of this great city of Monticello. Item 5, our minutes for the April council meeting. Okay, item 6.
I'll move to approve the April council meeting. It has a few typos, but that's good.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approval of April council meeting?
Yeah.
Aye. It's been properly moved and second that we will accept the minutes for the April council meeting. Item 7, old business, King Street Sidewalk.
Yes, I wanted to draw the city council's attention to the King Street Sidewalk project. Last month, the young lady from Kinley Horn was here to discuss it, and I asked her for an amount because I did not see this particular project reflected in this year's budget. She did not provide that, but I was able to locate the agreement that Mr. Lawless signed when he was acting as city manager. And I also did my due diligence with them and Mr. Lawless and Emily. And all have suggested to me that they are not aware of this being funded for this particular year. So I wanted to bring that to the council's attention and ask for guidance.
So the night that we did the budget, and the specific question was asked, was this funded? You, along with the city manager and the budget committee, said it's included in the budget. Now you're saying there's no money for it?
I don't remember that particular
you probably need to
item,
pull
but
the
I'll
tape.
look in some
You
minutes.
probably need to pull the tape.
I'll look in some minutes.
I have, excuse me, Councilman, I have the agenda for May 7, 2024, and that was King Street project. There was a budget, $120,000 for those sidewalks and any other thing in there. It's right here.
Okay.
Got approved in the 23-24 budget.
Wonderful.
So there should be money, there should be funds in there for that project.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That's what I
She
needed.
quoted 460,000 in that presentation.
But this 120 specific for the sidewalks.
That is for the
Other areas.
construction, the 400 some thousand is.
Well, actually, what she said was 460,000 plus, which caught my attention. For the taxpayer,
Sure.
I want to see like the Cherry Street sidewalk was 150,000. That got reduced to about 35,000. I'm gonna table that. Thank you.
But that was approved for budget cycles.
Yes.
The 23, 24, and the last budget that we had here, and that specifically asked that question, and you along with them said it was in there. So now that it disappeared, I think we probably need, well, we could bring it up later, that we probably need to go to getting expenditures every month. To kind
Absolutely.
of see
Because this expenditure we have right now just come out. It don't have it on there. It should have, because we never used it. And when she gave her order for the payment, she should have got her money. The money was in the budget. Now, if it went somewhere else, you better go ahead and pull up some other thing and tighten up and draw away, make it back so that can happen, because it's been approved. And it also been in the budget.
And the presentation was only 60% of the design. It's not even designed yet, but yet they quoted the city 460,000 plus. That's only budgeted for 120 to 160,000. So the presentation they presented to me on.
Well, I was in the
Your
emergency
accent.
room, so I don't know what was going on last month.
The last
But I do
meeting-
know
She
that.
has some other stuff included in there.
Yeah, that's me,
With
she
the
said this
sidewalk.
was 60% designed. So my first question is how did the city approve anything when it hasn't even been designed?
Right. I'm not, again, that might be something that was, but I know the already preliminary where the line is already painted on that street of where we were talking about just laying that. That was approved in last couple cycle budgets. Now, what's been added, we probably do need to discuss that, but the basic of adding a sidewalk on that street hasn't been discussed for 2 years.
Right.
And everybody that's in here is aware of that. And people that's done gone and left, it's good that they can give their opinion,
Well,
but
if you remember correctly, Cherry Street had 5 crepe myrtle trees for $2,000 a piece, and then benches costed $2,000 a piece, and they were expedited, and then they wanted internet in the lights, and I asked, why does the trees need music? For some reason, internet was being installed in the light post by Duke. So that was 2019, and then I retired, but I'm back.
That came from another part of money.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So when can we take a look at this, King Street sidewalk and, see where this money is?
Well, in response, it would be helpful for Mr. Jones to provide a copy to me, what he said he has. I came to the council for guidance. As everyone in here knows, I was not here at that time.
It happened in 2024, just before you got July.
Okay, so those kinds of things are not, they don't always necessarily say.
But Madam Clerk, you can pull up this, it's there, and you can look on it in your sleep for yourself. Pull up the budget, it's there.
Does it
2024, yes, I got it on there.
Does it say King Street project?
Well, I got some King Street project, I got some paperwork on King Street project also.
But does it say it in the budget that you just held up?
That's what the sidewalk, they don't specifically break it down.
That's what I was about to
Yes.
say to the mayor. The budgets.
But it's there for that.
Thank you. The budgets don't necessarily have the name of the project next to them. That's not the way budgets are addressed. So that is why I came to the council for guidance, because I was not here at that time and I did not see Mr. Lawless when I asked him about it. He just happened to be in City Hall to do something. So I brought it to his attention and he said to me that his understanding of it when he signed that was that the funding was going to come from the additional ARPA funds that he was expecting.
It had nothing to do with
But we
ARPA.
were not expecting any additional ARPA funds,
It didn't come from ARPA, it came from the budget. Have nothing to do with ARPA.
so we were not expecting any additional
You
ARPA
did, this
funds.
wasn't, this budget, this part of it wouldn't even have out. I just went back and got my records. I mean, I keep book. If I had to, I go back to 96 from every meeting we had. This 2026, this one, that one. I went back and I looked through there. I'll lay it out to you, I'll bring it to you off and show it to you.
Thank
It's
you.
there.
Thank you, that would be very helpful. So, whatever he said was in expectation of these additional ARPA funds that's what he told me. And that's the only thing I know, because that's what he told me. So, I'm just turning to the council for guidance.
Okay.
But just one correction. Were you here in this last cycle budget? Were you in the seat?
I came in July.
Okay, the
So
budget
you
don't get
left.
approved till September,
That's right.
so you were here.
Well, I may have been here, but I was not here for all of the year before that you were talking about 2 years. And I was brand new and did not know anything about King Street or any other street.
But this year's cycle budget, if the question was asked, is King Street funded? And the budget committee, along with you, and the department head said it's funded and it's in the budget. You can't say you wasn't here. I'm just point of clarification.
I didn't say I wasn't here for that particular thing. I said I wasn't here when all of y'all started 2 years ago.
Jackson's been there 3 times and it still hasn't happened, so this is happening.
Can I make just an observation? I think we're probably at a point in the year needing to start budget committee work anyway. Is this a good time to go ahead and begin that process?
I have that
And
in
then-
my clerk report
Okay,
when it gets to that point.
okay.
24, 25 budget?
So you get that budget?
We don't even have 24, 25 budget.
Talking about the next year's budget.
Have we got this year's budget?
No, only you know it's staying. Just this little piece right here, what we just got. I don't see it. I put it somewhere.
So we are still operating without a city budget.
I had seen it.
From
Okay,
my understanding, there was a budget approved for the 24-25 year in September of last year, correct?
But what we don't have a
Yes,
copy
sir.
of it. That's what I'm saying. What is the copy of it? Where is it?
I've asked for it for 3 months.
It ain't there. It been approved, but it hasn't been printed. All right.
Yes,
Get
sir.
with it.
Yes,
Get
sir.
with it.
Councilman
Get with it.
Hoffman, I would suggest a workshop right away.
okay, all right, so, we will leave this King Street, for now, because we need more research into the budget to see where it is.
Madam Clerk need to contact Kimberly Horn, and she have more information. What else she have it. She have the record also. So contact Kimberly Horn, and she come back to the next meeting, bring it back whatever's in there. Ain't been approved for that. They hadn't got it. 23, 24, 24, 25.
Didn't we just pay them some money?
I have no idea, we pretty bad on paying people.
Well, I know some money has come from somewhere. 'Cause, they were here, I think it was at our last meeting. Okay, so this is a priority for the King Street Sidewalk, and we must do that because this is 2 years on this one now.
Madam Mayor, you need to get a budget, you need to get your budget, works, the guys you had for the budget, the team you had, you need to get that back in action also.
Yes, sir, I got it on my list here. Okay, alrighty, so is that okay with everybody? Okay, we will have to come back and look at it. Okay, the city manager position, the contract, Mr. Mitchell, please.
Okay, we already discussed this largely with the last meeting, and after working with Councilman Bachman, we've come to an agreement in terms of payment and basically the entirety of the contract that was
Okay.
agreeable and in keeping with what was discussed at the last meeting. That's pretty much all there is to it, is to let the council approve.
Okay.
Councilman Bachman, I believe you wanted to discuss briefly when this was supposed to take effect.
Sure, so the contract as it's written now is effective April 3rd. Mr. Makowitz was, in essence, he's been operating as city manager since the day after we took that vote, so I think that's fair to make this effective April 3rd. He's been, operating, doing both this planning job and working as a city manager. So I just want to point that out to the council that that's a part of what we're voting for, is making this, the effective date is April 3rd on this.
Okay, we're still running this 1 year?
Yes, this is a 1 year with a provision for review, I think at 3 months. And then, we'll go from there. So, I know that Clerk is actively looking for housing inside the city limits. There's not a lot out there, so at a certain point, we may have to offer some, some slack for that requirement, but I know he's actively looking. So
Okay.
other than that, I think everything is pretty straightforward and clear. So I'm going to make a motion, we accept the employment agreement with Clerk Makowitz as written.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so probably moved in second that we accept the contract and the city manager's position for Mr. Makowitz.
I was hopeful that we were going to be able to find a candidate with an easier name to spell. And
Very Polish.
that was not to be, so I can promise you I will spell your name wrong for a significant period of time before I get it right.
I'm used to it. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to.
Madam Mayor, before we move on.
Yes, sir.
We as a legislative body may have to make an exception to the manager, even though you got one for his living, because I noticed there is tremendous police officers from Tallahassee all over Jefferson County, sit in and out. Sheriff Department and Police Department, so anyway, you see them, so if we can make an exception for him, if he already had us, let him stay there. If he don't call, he need to be there, he can get here.
Yeah.
So there's nothing here for him, well, root him up, he already got. So whatever we have to do to change that so he don't have to root up and try to find something here, which is not nothing here for him, stay right there in Tallahassee where he is.
Yeah, I think rather than him finding something that's not, to, his long-term needs, if we can offer him some time, but I know, I've spoken to him, I know he's working on finding housing inside.
And just for the council's knowledge, there is a grace period that's built into this from the get-go.
Yeah.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, off the top of my head, I remember it being 90 days.
Yes, 90 days.
There is a little more waiver that we can do with that too, but I need to make sure, but I think this may be baked into the charter, which makes this exceptionally difficult to change. I don't remember off the top of my head, however.
I think that's something you might need to check with the legislature, with the state law on that.
I was thinking the interim year would have an effect on the need to move? But you are correct, I am looking.
Yes, so hopefully this is a non-issue.
It is still my intention to move
Yes.
in the city if possible, or right outside if need be.
Okay, now is it fair to
There's
say?
some new apartments in the subdivision that's online. I don't know if you've seen them.
I'm always looking.
Okay.
Dogs and a tortoise, and my tortoise won't like the apartments.
Okay, so since this is a 1-year appointment probationary, that wouldn't be, do we have anything in the book, on the book for that? Because this sets him apart.
No, Madam Mayor, there isn't
Okay.
anything in the book right now
All right.
on this. It's the city manager, it's the city manager.
Okay.
There's no, there's
All
no
right.
sort of provisional appointment. There's allowances that I believe can be made when we're having temporary interim, such as
Okay.
we just had. But aside from that, I believe we're kind of straining it when it is the permanent position.
All right, well, very good then. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that Mr. Merkowitz is free to remain where he's living now while he's in this 1-year period.
Mhm.
90
I think
days.
he's got 90 days.
He's got 90 days currently.
Yeah,
Just 90 days,
correct.
Correct.
and he'll still be on probation, or he will
Right,
not
but
be the
that's-
city
Yeah, I
manager.
don't think that, I mean,
It's not addressed in
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not addressed in the code.
I'm looking in the charter, I ain't going on.
Well, I mean, a point of clarification, we can move on. I mean, we know that that's coming up, and then within the 60 days or whatever, we can bring that back up and discuss it again. Like
Yeah,
that.
so we have a few more, we have some time, and I am mistaken. This portion is it's in section 2, not section 1, which is not the city charter.
Right.
So the city manager is an appointed position outside of the city charter. So there can be, if we need to change things, we can discuss it.
Okay, all right, so we will take a look at.
Just for the record, I gotta ask, was the position advertised to be within the
Repeatedly.
city limits of Monticello?
No, it's not.
It was not advertised?
Unlike the city clerk
Okay.
position.
No resident requirement.
There is no initial residency requirement for the city manager. As a matter of statute, it is or I shouldn't say as a matter of statute, as a matter of the code. As a matter of the code, it is required that the city manager live within city limits within 90 days, barring an exception being made. Now, there are circumstances, obviously, where the city manager living within the city limits is not possible within those 90 days, and that's what we would need to address if it comes to it.
And one other thing, when in doubt, the governing body of municipalities is Florida statute 166 and a half from Alpha to Zulu. Everything and anything, we just peel off from those statutes. The ordinance and the code. We can't go above the statute, but you can do it to suit yourself. So if you don't know it, read the statute and you can get your idea of what can and can't do. Florida statute 166. That's municipality.
Okay. All right, shall we move on? All right. Item 8, new business from Mr. Mankiewicz.
So, thank you, Madam Mayor. So as my planning duties, we had the planning meeting on April 17th. The only item that we were seeing that night was reviewing two applications. One is an application for rezoning, and one is an application for a comprehensive plan amendment. Both of those are for 370 South Jefferson Street. That's Ms. Evelyn Hagen's property. That, for those that don't know, it's situated right between a couple of the realty buildings right across the street over there. As it sits right now, it's an L-shaped property. The rear of the property is currently zoned R1, residential single family. The front of the property, which is the smaller portion, the square of it, is B2, business highway. The rezoning request is to make the whole property B2 like the front is. Then the comprehensive plan amendment application for the future land use of that property, the front, which the zoning is B2, the front is commercial. So those match, the B2 matches that. The rear for the future land use is residential low density, and then it has a large strip of conservation going almost all of the rear portion of the property has that on it. That conservation strip starts in Ms. Hagen's property and then continues down all the way to Eaton Lane. And then that's when it shifts underneath South Jefferson and it goes to where we have the problems at Mulberry and by the chicken place. That's all connected. So it comes down in their properties and then shifts over across the street to the west. This came about because Ms. Hagen would like to build a funeral home on the property, and in the rear where the conservation is and a residential, that is where they would need to do their parking lot. And so before we could get to the plans for the funeral home and a parking lot, we had to address the zoning and the future land use first. And so at the local planning agency meeting, all that was reviewed was the rezoning application and the comprehensive plan amendment application, because the site plans for the funeral home, they're going to, what happens with the rezoning and the land use amendment, that's going to determine what she can do with those plans. So we held it at just the rezoning and the future land use amendment, and then she can see, after she gets the needed changes, then we'll move on to the plans for the funeral home. So we kept it separate so that we're just addressing the land use right now and the current zoning, the future land use and the current zoning, before we get into at the next planning meeting, then we would discuss the funeral home if we can move forward.
And just a kind of procedural point of clarification here, this is, again, a first reading because this involves changes to adopted zoning ordinances. And
so both of these would be a first reading. So I provided the titles to both proposed ordinances to the clerk so that she can read them out.
Okay.
And then whether the council agrees with them or not, that is not determined at this meeting. You would have until your next one to, it doesn't have to be your next meeting, but you have until you decide to think about this and review it and then address it. And that'll be an advertised meeting before we do that so that people have a chance to come and speak there.
Okay.
yeah, and if you want, again, I'll say if you want to take public comment today, of course that's the council's decision, but you do not have to.
Okay.
Now, the local planning agency recommended denying both applications. The rezoning was 3-2 against, and the comprehensive plan amendment was unanimously against. I've also provided, there was a number of people, about 10-12 people that showed up to the meeting. Several of them spoke against it, and then there was also about 18 to 20 names given on a petition that they signed against, I think it's mostly against the comprehensive plan amendment, but they wrote rezoning on that petition. So people's concerns were the conservation. They didn't want the conservation removed. But what the residential zoning does back there is that provides a buffer. So the rear of all those properties, just like the conservation, there's residential running down that too. So that provides a buffer between all the properties that front South Joaquina and all the businesses that front South Jefferson. That strip of conservation, it's almost like a property, sorry, the strip of residential, it provides like a nice buffer between residences and businesses. So it's sort of two things right there with that. It seems like it was used as a buffer, which is why you have some weird zoning right there. You have business up front and residential in the back, but that gives a good reason why they did that. Is because now you have a built-in buffer so that it's not business right next to residences.
Okay, what was the last use of that property?
There was a
Restaurant.
Is that what it was?
Restaurant.
There was a small building in the front of the property, just like the nearby businesses. They all had buildings in the front. That is what was there when you
Correct.
purchased, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then had it removed because it was dilapidated or it didn't fit your needs.
Everything.
Okay.
It was an array of things that we were suggested
Okay.
to follow to be in compliance.
Okay.
So it had to be.
And that building was residential and business. They stayed in it and had a business in the front and they lived in the house in the back.
And
Okay.
parked in the back.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Before we get into the comments, would you please read the release, please?
Do you want to do one at a time or?
Yes, yes, please.
Rezoning is the first one.
Ordinance number 2025-02, an ordinance rezoning property located at 370 South Jefferson Street, comprising .769 acres within the city limits of the city of Monticello, Florida, from R1 residential, single family, to B2 business highway, and providing for an effective date.
So that would address just that rear zoning, to make it
Okay.
all B2. That's what that one is for.
Okay, any comments on that section?
Which section is that? The rezoning
Yes.
of the
Yes.
front part or the back?
The back.
Is
part.
rezoning the back part to match
I
the
got
zoning
you.
of the front part.
Mayor, I don't want to take my mask off if you all can hear me. I'm dealing with a treatment right now, and I just don't want to take a chance. My name is Juanita Minton Crumity. I worked with the state legislature in Palm Beach County, and you talking about rezoning, you talking about vegetation. I worked with Addie Green, legislature, and county commissioners, Hank Harper, legislature. I also still work with the Black Caucus of the state of Florida. If you go down I-95 and you see these houses with the walls, my office did that in the state of Florida. Ain't no such thing as vegetation. You can put a wall up to divide that resident and the business. It's all over the state of Florida. It's everywhere. That's by a choice of the county. Don't want to see that woman bill. That's by choice. They're not concerned. When the smell coming from that restaurant, it didn't bother nobody. A funeral home, you got laws that you got to go by. Don't tell me about the state. I work with it still. I know what you can do. This is not right what the Jefferson County is doing for this woman here. It was said, why you want 2 black funeral homes? Why not 3? Why not 3? People die every day. Why should it be just one person? Why? We got more than one gas station. We got more than one store. Now we got 2. The thing is, Jefferson County needs to improve. I'm 72 years old. This county has not grown a bit. Not one bit. Not one bit. You hold the county and the city, you hold it hostage to family members. And if you're not part of that family, you don't get to grow. You don't want a house. You don't want the roads paved. You don't want anything. You got to fight like hell to get anything in this county. And it's not right. It's not right. It is not right that you sitting here, or even you got 18 people writing on a piece of paper saying they don't want to rezone it. But I guarantee you, if one of those main names in Jefferson County would have put something on that piece, it would have went straight through. They would have welcomed it. The social club, it was changed from a bank office unto a social club, and it's a restaurant. You guys put those little things that stick out in the road that people running all over. You're not worried about that. Just the other day, coming into town, a truck going around the courthouse done hit it. But that's not a problem.
Those are actually the state's holdouts, but
Whatever you
I
call them.
understand now.
Whatever you call them, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
yes, ma'am.
So, getting back to your zoning and your wall, you can put a wall. If she has to put the wall up, tell her she has to put a wall up. And guess what? I guarantee you I'll be one of those that's carrying a block to put it there. It's not fair. It's not fair. We all sit here and say we are Christians. We Christians. But our fellow man, that we all bleed red. We ain't doing it right. You all took an oath. An oath. What are you doing for the county? Why are you putting hostages on these residents? Why? I was told in a county commission from a county commissioner, one of the lead ringers, he suggested that I go back to Palm Beach County because I was challenging him. I knew what I was talking about. I was born and raised here. And my question was, where you come from?
I was not born here.
I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about him. That my question to him was, where do you come from? So now, either we come together and try to do the best for our constituents, or we need to resign. Plain out, that it, resign. You want to give, I don't know you, sir, but you talking about giving him a leeway because he can't find a place. She was born and raised here. What about her leeway? What about her well-being? What about her and her family? What about her? Go home tonight and think about, suppose somebody tell you you can't stay or you can't put a driveway somewhere. Go back, go and find out, see how you feel. See how you would feel if someone put an obstacle in front of you for no reason. No reason. And guess what? Plain out, because of who she is and what color she is. Don't say it's not racism, because it is. It's plain out. Nobody else will say it, but I'm here to tell you, it's a racist move. Nothing but a racist move. This woman trying to improve herself, and y'all won't even. Just remember, God is looking at each one of you.
Thank you, Ms. Crumity. Now, we will, yes, sir.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
sir.
have a minute. Where's the time? Good evening, Commissioners. Matthew Parker, Parker Engineering, work for Ms. Hagan on her building. Just kind of give you a little backstory of what we've got here with the building. Obviously, you know it was Two Sisters. Y'all remember what it used to be. You also remember what parking was there because they didn't have any real facilities there. So So the whole reason that the reason we've requested the rezoning and the comp plan amendment is because we need 21 parking spaces to have adequate parking per the city ordinance for the funeral home. We can't put that parking in R1 for the business, so we have to rezone it to B2. The conservation easement that was put on there, as best we can figure, and talking to Clerk, looking historically things, that the planning and zoning board put that on there because there's a stormwater that flows through that property. So stormwater comes down from the north behind the real estate offices, comes down through this property, continues on and goes on that way. And a lot of the concern was by the citizens that stormwater, if the conservation easement is lifted, that this stormwater would only be exacerbated and was a problem. A couple things we want to look at on that as engineers, and we look at problems and we look for solutions. And the solution with this, the conveyance is going to need to be improved. There's going to need to be some kind of improvement to get that water channelized and flowing properly, and not too fast so that it's not scouring the neighbors down below, and that we have adequate capacity. With the conservation easement in place, it does not allow for that. Per code, if there's a conservation easement on the property, you cannot do anything to it. So you can't, and the intent was you don't build on it, we don't do things, and that makes good sense. But it also precludes the city or anyone from ever trying to do anything to improve that area to make it a proper stormwater conveyance, which it naturally is, as everything's grown up in the city around it. So that was one of the reasons why we had requested that be removed, and to ensure that it would always remain that way, we offered to put a drainage easement in that area. So we would take the conservation off, and then we would come in and say, all right, well, we're going to put a drainage easement here, which would preclude that ever from being developed as a building or anything like that. So it can always be used as a drainage easement. And with the easement on it, that would give the city or other folks, whoever needs to maintain it, the ability to do so. Right now, as a conservation measure, that doesn't happen. So I did want to speak to this and just kind of talk with you all about it. I know this is the first read, but I want you to understand you have quite a bit more latitude in planning. Planning zone kind of looks at it as a black and white, it's a yes or no kind of thing, it's a binary. This is, we're looking more of a solution that we can come up with. Obviously there's concerns of the citizens, adjacent property owners about stormwater. We're sensitive to that. There's concerns about buffering, that we're going to have a funeral home here. I would like to just have the commission think about, it is a funeral home. It's not a bar, it's not a restaurant, it's not loud. It's someone local. We're not getting the Buc-ee's. We're not getting something that's just coming in and take over the town. We've got local folks who are going to build a funeral home. And this is a fairly low intensity use of the land. The purpose of the building was to keep it as close to the street as possible, to maintain the character of what we have going down 19. It's going to look like what's there now. The adjacent properties, the real estate offices, are former residences that we converted into businesses. And just something to keep in mind, and it was brought up then to say, well, I had made the point that if we don't have the parking, it kind of makes the property worthless, because you'd have to build a much smaller building. And everybody says, well, there's large buildings on the adjacent properties, but they don't meet today's standards. So if you look at the real estate offices on either side, they've got a dirt or gravel driveway that goes to some gravel parking spaces in the back, and they utilize street parking, and they only have like 2-3 spaces, which is perfectly adequate for a real estate office because they don't have a lot of folks coming and going. Would not be adequate for a funeral home. So it does really limit the potential for the property, because if you take today's standards with requirements for handicap accessibility and handicap parking and the parking requirement for the building, that building would get so small that just the property becomes not feasible to develop. So that is the purpose in extending that zoning to the back. And I would just like the commission to consider, when you think about this and we come to our next meeting, about rezoning, and we can work with Ms. Hagan to come up with a solution that is acceptable to the city and hopefully to all the citizens. I know not everybody's going to be happy with this, but that conservation easement, if you're set in stone that you don't want to get rid of it, there's a thought here that it could be moved, because if you look at the lay of the land, the lower spot is to the east side of the property. The conservation easement is almost all immediately behind where the property dog legs, closer to the road. So the conservation area doesn't really lie on the area that flows the water. Possibly adjust it where it goes. I still think the better way to do it would be go ahead and take the drainage easement. Ms. Hagan's willing to do this. She's going to give up this land that she cannot develop and use as a parking lot, but it would have that drainage easement, which would into perpetuity have the ability to be maintained. Am I out of time?
I have a quick question here. How many, if this is rezoned, how many parking lots will we have?
Well, there
I'm
were
not
one
parking
parking,
lot.
21 parking spaces.
They're 25.
25. We had utilized 3 spaces to try and minimize what was in the back. Ideally, I'd like to have all 25 on the property. But to try and keep as little development in the back as possible because of the sensitivity about stormwater, everybody's concerns, we are utilizing 3 spaces on the street and then 21 spaces on the property, so we were 1 short. Now that as we do this, we can certainly get those 4 spaces will easily fit in the back, but I was trying to minimize what was happening in that back property because of the conservation and things like that. So it'd just be something I'd like the board to consider. I think there's a lot of flexibility in here that we could get something that everybody's happy with. If it needs to be a fence, a wall, a vegetated buffer, if it needs to be moving conservation easement, or preferably replace it with a drainage easement. We're talking about gravel and grass parking. It's not going to be a great big Tractor Supply paved parking lot with nighttime lighting. It's not going to be that. It's just, this is a funeral home. Everyone comes, they pay their respects, and they go. So it's not the intense. There's not that intensity. Everybody shows up here 4 and 7, and then you go home. But any questions y'all have of us on this, or any questions about the site plan or where we're going? And like I said, planning and zoning sees it very binary, and I wanted y'all to kind of see the whole picture and holistically come up with a solution that we can work with for everybody.
So 24 spaces is adequate? 25.
25, yes ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that their plan would require a variance
Okay.
to do gravel and grass.
But we, ideally, we would just go with the 25 like we had originally and not pursue the variance for the parking. We would really prefer to have everybody off the street and everybody have adequate parking on
Well, the variance would be for the paving of the parking lot.
I'm sorry, the paving of the parking. And the purpose in that was to not pave have a big paved parking lot in the back that we've got more water coming off of and we have more problems with stormwater.
Okay.
You have most of the parking here now is paving. Most of the businesses, the only business that really will meet that are your grocery stores. Possible the restaurant, on that side, when they don't got nowhere to park, they got to park on the side of the street. Go west. This church right here don't got no 25 spaces, but Baptists probably do. Mets got to use their lot, and then they still park in the street in the school. So,
grass and gravel works with churches, it works with something like that.
Well, it should,
It's not
because
daily use.
there's a business down on 90 East. We've been trying since 2013 to the same thing by parking with gravel or paved. No, you got gravel and grass. Still no improvement. Don't pay attention to whatever put out, and that's been going on since 2013. So people park, they can park there. As long as they put gravel, whatever they can get in there, get the people parked. Don't gotta be paid. Why you want to pay it for?
Yeah, no,
And you can have exception to this. If the other ones have it, then why not make it happen here also? That just don't make no sense to me. I don't care. That's always, when you got your laws, you always got a break point you can. You can fix it to meet the needs of whatever needs to be done. So by the book. Just because it says the book, you're gonna get there just like a little dash hound, long dog, they're gonna be trying to see both ends gonna meet whichever way you get to go.
So just to I was at that LPA meeting and there's a lot of concern about the velocity of the water going down that ditch. So from an engineering point of view, with the drainage easement there, is there a way to capture and slow some of that water before it hits that down? In other words, improve the amount of water that's hitting, the velocity that's going downhill through the rest of the easement.
We'd use ditch blocks. So basically what you do is you come in, you build a little dam in a swale. So it runs down, it hits it, it fills, it spills over, and you see them, DOT uses them all the time.
So in essence, you could engineer perhaps an even better improvement than what's currently there.
Yeah.
You have those two relatives. There's another house next to that used to be that they moved. Then you have a residential there. Then you have a fertilizer place. Neither one got no water. The same water you're talking about running off from there, the same water runs right off down there. And if you ride down 19 South, you'll see where the state's supposed to have a fix. It's a dip. Right there where Piggly Wiggly, Buckman, Jefferson, whatever, they box it up so the water don't run. It don't flow. It don't flow across the road. and there's a ditch right beside the church, between the church and Maryland Chicken. Now we got to block off the street right here with holes because you can't cross because the water don't run and it backs up. It's supposed to go to the next street, but it don't. So all that water coming, it runs right into those business, runs right into the fertilizer place. You can walk down the road right now, you can see the water with the side. It runs up into there.
This is something that city should have long ago
Yeah,
addressed.
well,
It should not be falling on the property.
I think city manager passed, got with DOT. DOT supposed to have fixed the drain because it's their problem. The state of Florida owns that, well, federal government owns the highway. State of Florida maintains it. We the municipality, so we can do the same. But that's not our job to fix that. That's their job, the state. But you can't get nothing out of them. The last passed legislation, they're gonna put up to them and see can they get those guys to get some money to fix the goddamn thing where they get right where the water come flow from where it need to flow right back up under and go right where it's supposed to go right off all down to Water Street. It don't do it. It starts right back there, and because it goes there, that don't put no more water than what already going from the residents and the businesses that already there.
Okay.
None.
I just wanted to, y'all have any questions of us, I just wanted y'all to consider it, and while you make your decisions.
Well, thank you for your.
And one other thing, just as Ms. Crummett said, you can go not on the 95, you can go on the turnpike. The same thing, the villages. They got walls up, and the same as here. So that's exception. And we want to be hardcore and choke people out.
And this was a trailer park that I went to the legislature about. A trailer park. They was the first off of Blue Heron Boulevard in 95 in Riviera Beach. So, and they started from there. It went on down.
Okay, thank you. We do have another reading.
Ordinance number 2025-03, an ordinance amending the future land use map of the comprehensive plan of the city of Monticello, Florida by redesignating a parcel of land located at 370 South Jefferson Street comprising .769 acres from conservation and residential low density to commercial, providing for purpose, providing for adoption of the specified amendment to the city of Monticello comprehensive plan, providing for legal effect, providing for severability, codification, scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have any comment on the comprehensive plan amendment?
No, I'm going to say one more thing.
All right.
Quiet.
What, Mr.
I was just gonna say, it's basically what we already spoke to. I mean, I don't need to bore you more of it, but I kind of covered the conservation on previously.
Thank you.
It's somewhere in our code of ordinance that you have to have a certain amount of people on the street that whether that affected. But I see these names, it makes me go back to 97. We wanted to get a Dr. Martin Luther King Avenue from Rose Street all the way back over to North Road, which up to the elementary school. We had people don't even live in the county. There was only one house facing Rose Street on the north side. And we swapped down and go down Pearl and left again. There's no houses there. And then we go by the old packing shed. There's no one there. So you know what? I compromised. I said, well, if we can't get that, we had 300 names, and I don't know. People didn't even live in the city of Monticello. And some of these names right here, I see somebody living in Asheville and Deals. What that got to do with it? You have to be able to live right where the property is, according to this thing. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but that was my business when I was in the military. Rules and regulations, I had to stick with it because if I did not get tore up. And so I read them pure off and I know. And I guarantee you the next meeting we have, I'll point it out to you and you can put it in your record, it's there. Whoever's on that street, they the one have a problem, not the whole community. And so where the water flows, that's an issue probably, but we're gonna fix that. It already said it's gonna be fixed. So it shouldn't be held up. Over on 2nd Street where I live, we got 2 speed bumps. Only the residents, not renters. You petitioning the city you want speed bump down. You might have 40 people there, but on the street only. Those are the only 3 that gonna get represented, even though they're gonna benefit the other people. So those people surrounding it, that's their problem. They don't want it. That's your problem. If you qualify for it, they should be there. But we work that out in the next meeting. I would go further, but I'm just gonna yield and shut up, because I get pissed off when I see stuff like that.
We just
And
had,
that happened back in '97. 300 names, nobody lived in the city of Monticello. Man was get for everybody, human rights. Just makes no sense to me, sick.
Okay, well, we appreciate all the comments.
Here, you got another comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I was asking, that, place right there by IGA, and he said where the water flow, don't it go all the way over where Marvin Street and where
No.
it's holding that water
No.
right there?
No.
What
What they talking about?
What holds that water right there in front of those people?
Who you talking about?
Right there, right on Marvin Street.
Because the development, let me tell you about that. I give you a history of that.
It's a big
But
puddle.
we gonna move on. Now you
It's
starting
a
now.
big
I'm
puddle.
gonna tell you why that port is there. The development, that was pecan ostrich there before. There was a store up on top where they gonna put one right now. He done made them do the right thing. There was a pecan ostrich there. And it was low land. So the developer didn't put dirt in there to pack it, to build it up with it. He just went ahead on and built a house and put concrete. So that's why she get water in hers. The people down will get, because the developer did and they didn't do it right.
There was not a building code inspector during that time.
That, well, they was one. He just didn't go to them because we used the kind. It was one, but I've been on 96. I started here. I got off in 2008. I came back 8 into present. So when people say things, you can rest assured they ain't doing the research. It's going up their own opinion. But that's like that water's there because that was the developed part. That was low land. And when it rained, that's what happened to it. The water built up because it ain't running. And so they still got an issue.
Yeah.
That's not the city issue. No, it's not. Developer did. He just got his money gone now.
Private driveway.
Okay, well, let's proceed on. Now, remember, these are only first readings. So we'll do this again. We have to have a second reading, and everything takes, it's a process. So we may not get what you want to hear tonight, but it is a process. And let's keep in mind now, where we are in Monticello, Florida.
We should just say that.
Yes, we are in Monticello, Florida, and rightly speaking, there are many things that are off track. What should have been here or it's not there. So what we try to do is work with what we got. And a lot of times we have to stretch out somewhere and to get it to working. And that's what we are here for, because we would love to see Ms. Hagan's business flourish. So we'll continue working on it, and by the grace of God, we shall move on. All right, next on our agenda.
How long did that process take? Because the state of Florida did away with DRIs in 2013. You got to be DR and the person want to really take 90 days, that's not now. Because when Governor Scott was on, he fixed that. You had people coming in Florida and waiting for 90 days to get it approved. That'd be. So they cut it down to 30 days.
Yeah.
They did away with DRI. No more DRI.
Yeah, so what are you asking about for when can this happen?
Yeah, as soon as, if it passes or no pass, yeah, how soon after that? Shouldn't be no 90 days because DRI.
No, yeah, it would be, we just have to submit the paperwork to the state. I need to look and see what the time frame would be on that. But it's.
I got stashed on my phone. Matter of fact, I'm with
as far as we're concerned, it happens when we adopt.
And how I know that, I'm with the Regional Planning Council, Appalachian Regional Planning, and we deal with stuff like this.
Yeah.
Right now. So I'm telling you, they killed DRI.
They did kill the DRIs, but they still need to review it. And
You can review it, but I ain't gonna take no 90 days or 60 days. Shouldn't do that. Once it get passed this way, let the developer do what they gotta do and get it, make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll pass it on immediately.
Yeah.
Once it comes
Yes, sir.
in, but.
You got anything? Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Item number 9, reports to council. Chief?
Everything's in my executive summary.
Okay, thank you. City manager?
Yeah, just a few quick things. So recently, I believe it was the last meeting, the council approved for us to hire Synagro to come and pump out a bunch of our waste from the water treatment plant. And then between last meeting and this meeting, I called each of you and asked if we could spend, they made a deal with us to take an additional, the first plan was to take 290,000 gallons from us. And they are taking another 150,000 gallons for $11,000, which saves us $13,000 odd, and it'll actually get us out to about 6 months from now, we're hoping, and it puts us in a good place. Before we were still behind because this is something that needed to happen and didn't happen for like a year and a half, and things got built up. So our samples were not coming out good for how much should settle in our tanks. This is going to put us in a much better place and prepare us for the hot season, which is worse on a treatment plant. And then over the summers when we're going to be looking at that fan press, which is going to boost our operations. So Kimberly Horn will be helping us find a grant for that. So there's that. And then regarding the FDEM generator grant that we've been working on, we were, as I informed the council before, we're looking for about $351,000 in match, local match, where the federal match is about almost $1.1 million. I had reached out to Jefferson County, to Shannon Meddy, and she's been working with the Jefferson County Board of County Commissioners, and she just let me know today that she doesn't know the number yet, but they are prepared to assist us in paying that match. So we're also looking into some other options right now. I don't have answers on those yet, but we will be able to get some assistance from the county if we're able to find the rest and keep this grant. The Water Street repaving.
Can I make a comment on that?
Sure, yes.
I apologize. Medi did ask for that matching of $25,000, I believe, but there's a $325,000 fine for the city not doing something. Do you know what that's about?
325. Well, that would be the remaining. If they're talking about 25,000, the remaining of our match would be about 325,000.
They actually said there was a $325,000 fine being placed because the city did not do something for dredging. So I'll just go back to the record. I apologize.
Okay, yeah, I have not heard anything about
Well, it's great news you don't know about that. We'll let the county pay it. Thank you.
But I'm about to do a walkthrough tomorrow with WSB to look at what they've done on the Water Street repaving project, and then we'll be able to hopefully close that out. And that's all I have as far as reports.
Yes, sir.
I think we need a vote on that $11,000 of additional expenditures. Is that correct? I believe that is correct on this, if that's something the council wants to authorize.
Okay, there were two amounts that we need to authorize, both of them.
We authorized the first amount
Yes.
at the last meeting. Since this is an additional, and from what it sounds like, a pretty darn good deal that we already have on this, the council, I believe, would have to authorize this.
So it's 11,500?
11,000.
11,000. So I'll make a motion, we authorize an additional $11,000 be spent for the sludge pump or whatever.
Pump the additional.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, an additional 150,000 gallons.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Okay, it's been properly moved in second, the authorization for $11,000 for the pumping. Okay, member reports. Councilman.
Sorry, I know I'm happy to concede my time, but I believe Kathy had an item.
Oh, I am sorry. Yes.
It's okay.
Yes. Okay, okay, so wait a minute, next was Mr. Herring.
Yeah,
You finished, okay. All right,
Everything's in the clerk report except for one thing, which is some housekeeping we need to take care of. Ameris Bank, we have an account at Ameris Bank that nobody here can sign on, so I need to take care of the paperwork so that the clerk can sign on that. And Capital City Bank Group, where all our operational funds are, there is a form in your packet, Mayor, to have Katrina, the Vice Mayor, added as an additional signatory.
Okay, how many signatures do we have there?
We have myself and you and Mr. Jones.
Okay, so that's 3.
Yes.
And we need another one?
Well, I just thought that it would be helpful because I thought that Mr. Jones was on it because he was vice mayor.
No,
And now
I was on it, I was the first one on it, and your clerk you rehired back, she told you or Emily that somebody else need to be on it. That's what, I've been on it since Christ was a baby. So you really don't need to get overloaded. Three is enough.
Okay.
So,
For the
And whether you're a mayor or vice mayor, it don't matter. Vice mayor is just a part set in. We all council members by the charter. So that ain't nothing important. I mean, it's important to somebody who want to make it important. But we all council members, each have the same duty. No pay for nobody, it's the same pay. So whether you on the count or not account, if you got 3 people on the count, you got enough on the count already.
Okay. The Ameris one, though, I believe does need an additional.
If that authorized to click, then authorized to click.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because of the way they're doing that, they do need the council to vote on permitting that authorization due to the nature of that particular account. This is just a routine. It is to allow Kathy to be a signatory.
And I think that's the clerk anyway. She's the one controlling the funds, so she should be on there.
Exactly, but
So-
we do need to fill out the appropriate paperwork. And
Whatever she needs to do, and make a vote, and she do it.
May I recommend that we have a motion to permit the clerk to be the signatory on the Ameris account?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, and I would request that 2 councilmen stay afterwards briefly so that we can fill out the appropriate paperwork for that.
All right, so all in favor of our clerk signing on the Americas Bank, let it be known by aye. Okay.
Aye.
It's been properly moved in second that our clerk, Ms. Radford, would sign on the Americas Bank.
That's the new bank. That's the bank that used to be. What's the
no,
Ameris Bank?
we just have, it's in Tallahassee, but we just have one account there and it's required.
It always been there?
It's been there a long time. It's required as the final payment of one of our loans. We
Well,
have
I
to
imagine
keep.
the
we
past
have
clerk
to-
was on it because this is my first time, so you clerk.
Yes, sir,
That's
she
your job.
Okay. And how long has that loan been outstanding?
It's not outstanding, it's
it's
just
not
a
outstanding.
signature transfer. It's been sort of automatically.
It's just, yeah, part of the requirement of one of the loans that we have says you must have the last payment in a bank account for us to, for good faith, basically.
All righty. Okay, Councilman Brock.
Okay, Mayor, can I make a public comment? Clayton Tolbert, 231 Silver Lane for the record. Let's go back to the clerk. She said in her report, and I'm only speaking to you because that's protocol, we have no city budget we can look at for 24, 25. I mean, we're in at what, 7 months? Have you seen a city budget?
Not since we compiled it. We have not met on that. We've been.
But this is year to date, correct?
That is year to date, and this the city budget went out immediately after it was passed, and it's also on the website. You're more than welcome to. If you need help finding it, I'm happy to help you.
Oh, well, I'm not interested in finding on the website. I'm just confused on our department heads and other council members hasn't seen a budget.
They've
It's on the
seen it.
website.
I think they're just a little bit.
We need a hard copy.
I think they're just a little bit mistaken about the fact that a hard copy was not
Okay,
presented.
so we have an accurate budget posted now on the website. It's up to date.
We have a
Need a hard
budget,
copy.
yes. We've had a budget since the beginning of the fiscal year, which is October.
I keep hearing we have a budget, but is it an accurate budget is the question. Is it up to date?
The budget is a planning document
It-
to plan what were the expenditures for the next years are. That is what's on the website. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Well, right now, we have some county units that's running over $1 million projected over budget right now in 6 months. I was
Are
just
you
curious
talking
if the
about
cities-
expenditures?
Yeah.
report.
That's,
It's okay, we'll table that for now. She says on the website, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
so just to follow that up, do we need to go ahead and start budget planning? So that would be my only comment for my part
yeah.
of it. Is that, okay.
So I will, it's in my clerk report, but I began the trim process near the end of April. You can't start it too early. I went into the Department of Revenue's Oasis e-trim system and did what we're supposed to do to get that started. And the next step in that is getting the audit underway, fully underway, and nearly done. And then we would want to be starting the budget. This week, our CPA is in the office doing his final things for the audit, and the audit firm has been in touch with me, and I've provided some documents for that, and we're waiting for the rest from the CPA. So as soon as all of that gets underway, we would want to begin looking at next year's budget.
Okay. Thank you.
And I probably, next month probably will be bringing that up again. So if the council would like to have a budget committee, you could be thinking about who you would want to be on it.
Okay.
And we can come up with, I think the workshop worked out last time, right? You guys had a retreat and a workshop?
Yeah.
Yeah, but these guys, well, they was that budget committee, I think they did that every month.
Yeah, it was, we've met
And that's what we need to
times.
bring it forward to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
So you can see, your gains, your losses or whatever, that's what that for. And I don't know, speaking for Jones on the legislative body, when we do it, I like a hard copy. It's on the internet, but I like a hard copy. And also, I believe somewhere in 2024, Councilman Evans requested, now I got that on, he said he would like to have our packets out by Friday. So if it's possible, we like to have, and I'm included, like to have a packet by Friday. So you get them the day off, you really don't have time to catch up or do what you need to do. You just gonna rake through it. But normally, if all the business done, if you have it on Thursday, that's fine. But Friday should be Friday. So before the meeting, it's on a Tuesday. You at least have to have where you can look down and scratch out, etch out, add in, or whatever. Besides just a rush over and you overlook it. So if possible, Madam Clerk, we can have our packet, hard copies, by Friday of every month before the meeting. Unless your machine breaks down.
Mr. Jones, yes, indeed. You know that there was a difficulty with the printer this month. And I got it out Monday morning, and I got it emailed to you the Wednesday before. So
Well, that's why I got upset, because I just seen that on the email reference. It just said you'll get it next week, and I'm saying next week what? What's wrong with next week? And then the email come out Wednesday say, oh, my machine was tore up. Yeah, no.
Do you have the ability to print it when it's emailed?
I use my paper to print when that's supposed to be happening.
Okay. Shall we proceed? Okay. All right. All is well on my watch. Councilman Evans.
I do want to thank the chief and the city manager for the support for the second harvest food giveaway. Appreciate that. That's every other month, and that's the free giveaway, second harvest used at Bethel. Thank you for the service.
Okay, Councilman Jones.
0 out on the food.
Okay. Councilman Richardson.
Yes, I have two things. One, I'd like to acknowledge George Pittman. It was announced today at the Chamber Luncheon that he is the new 2025 Grand Marshal for the Watermelon.
Well deserved.
And the other thing, the charter review. Can you let us know the dates and what?
We have the first meeting scheduled on the 15th of this month.
Okay.
Yeah. That's largely going to be a planning meeting to schedule everything else. So
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, we thank all of our council members, the chief, and Mr. Officer Pitts, and everyone that's here for your cooperation, for your coming out. And we will continue this session on the rezoning next month. But nevertheless, we thank you and we feel like we have accomplished something here. Our budget meeting will be resuming soon. Before we go, are we keeping the same budget numbers from last go round?
Yes.
Switching up.
Who was it?
Yeah. Yeah, all of us were.
No, it wasn't all of us. I
Well,
wasn't.
all of them?
No, I do come in and look.
Okay. As things will run as they have been. So we really appreciate you coming out tonight. And if all hearts are clear, this meeting stands adjourned.